and we appreciate the support. Let's do
it. If the bureaucracy is in charge, if there's not a good feedback loop from the people to the government, and if you have rule of the bureaucrat, if the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have? If the people cannot vote and have their will be decided by their elected representatives in the form of the president and the Senate and the House, then we don't live in a democracy. We live in a bureaucracy. So it's incredibly important that we close that feedback loop, we fix that feedback loop, and that the public's elected representatives, the president, the House, and the Senate, decide what happens, as opposed to a large unelected bureaucracy. This is not to say that there are good people who are in the federal bureaucracy, but you can't have an autonomous federal bureaucracy. You have to have one that is responsive to the people. That's the whole point of a democracy. And if you looked at this, if you asked looked at the founders today and said, what do you think of the way things have turned out? Well, we have this unelected, fourth unconstitutional branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative. And this is not something that people want, and it does not match the will of the people. So it's just something we've got to fix. And then we've also got to address the deficit. So we've got a $2 trillion deficit, and
I love that. It doesn't match the will of the people. Now, regardless of if you voted for the man or not, do y'all not think some of this errant spending, some of this mismanagement of funds exposed by Doge and Trump is not inherently a positive for all of us? You don't think that's a benefit towards the economy, towards the flow of what we got going on? You don't think there's going to be some type of positive kickback from that? Like, I just don't get it. For a lot of the detractors, a lot of the naysayers, even if you hate the man, positive moves like that benefit you, I just don't see how you can find the negative in it. But guys, let's continue to keep it going. We still got almost 500 of y'all in here. Go ahead and drop a like for your boy, man. It does a lot. It pushes the video in the algorithm. We can continue to push the conversation forward. It gets more people in here, and it makes the stream a lot more fun, man. So support the stream, double tap the screen, or you get the 3 buttons. Let's keep it going.
If we don't do something about this deficit, the country's going bankrupt. I mean, it's really astounding that the interest payments alone on the national debt exceed the Defense Department budget, which is shocking because we spend a lot of money on defense. But if that just keeps going, we're essentially going to bankrupt the country. So what I really want to say is, like, it's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential. It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country, and it's essential for America to have the resources necessary to provide things to its citizens and not simply be servicing vast amounts of debt.
And also, could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about 30 million,
right? Well, we do.
Like, and this is what I'm talking about. Like, we didn't even know this shit was going on. So we should be thanking Doge. Like, I keep saying that, like, a lot of this stuff, like, keep it a buck. Nobody knew USAID was doing all that with the money. Nobody knew the Treasury was going to put up that much of a fight. Department of Education. It seems like they got a lot to hide. Nobody knew about we knew about the faults of the government. We knew it was inherently flawed, right? But when we pointed out the specific details, it's alarming for a lot of us, and it should be. Like, nobody knew this shit was going on for real, and especially not to this extent. So for Elon to get in there, expose it, say he's going to break that down, reform it, it's not going on anymore. Bro, he's saving us all some bucks. He's saving us all some bucks, or at least that's the goddamn plan. We should all be a little bit happy. Come on now. Turn that frown upside down, man, especially when it's saving you some dollars.
Do you find it sort of rather odd that, there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened to USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from. Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But just there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from? I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it. So, we're looking at, say, we just, if you look at, say, Treasury, for example, basic controls that should be in place, that are in place in any company, such as making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code, that there is a comment field that describes the payment, and that if a payment is on the do not pay list, that you don't actually pay it. None of those things are true currently. So the reason that departments can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks. You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made. And then we've got this truly absurd, a do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list. And this, we're talking about terrorist organizations, we're talking about known fraudsters, known aspects of waste, known things that do not match any congressional appropriation. You take up to a year to get on the list, and even once on the list is not used. It's mind-blowing. So what we're talking about here, we're really just talking about adding common sense controls that should be present, that haven't been present. So you say, like, well, how could such a thing arise? That seems crazy. When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization. So
guys, we got a lot of y'all just now getting in here, man. Show some support to the stream. Appreciate y'all tuning in to S.E.T. Key Media tonight. You could be anywhere else, but you're right here, man. Go ahead and double tap that screen for your boy, or you get the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner, man. We're going to continue on this conversation. Elon, Trump, addressing these reporters, taking questions, and answering a lot of the shit we want to know about, man. Let's keep it going. Go ahead and support the stream. Drop a super chat as well to drive the stream forward. Help us open up that call in. We're about 37 super chats away from doing so, man. Getting some of the supporters up here for a live call in, man. We love to do it. Let's continue to support, guys, and let's keep it going.
Then you understand the motivations. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain. And the fraudsters complain the loudest and the fastest. So then when you understand that, then it makes sense. Oh, that's why everything they approve all the payments at Treasury. Because if you approve all the payments, you don't get complaints. But now we're saying that, no, actually, we are going to complain. If money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible and frugal manner, then that's not okay. Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people. I mean, these things, like, it's just common sense. It's not draconian or radical. I think it's really just saying, let's look at each of these expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is, it's approved.
I like that, man. He's not even oversimplifying it. He's pretty much just defining it as it is. It isn't radical. It isn't draconian, as he said. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty common sense. And I mean, this is the tagline, the slogan Trump literally ran off of: common sense politics. Like, we got to get this. He literally said, we got to cut this woke bullshit. We got to cut this woke bullshit. And if you see some of the spending and some of the initiatives that USAID kind of branched off into, it was exactly that. So Elon, Trump get in here. They're doing what they already told us they were going to do. It should be no surprise to all of us. What we should be doing is be thankful for the errant spending they've already exposed, as well as be optimistic for what they're going to find and shut down in the future. Like, come on now. Everybody at some point in time in their life has had a complaint that our taxes are going towards causes and initiatives that we don't quite see or we don't quite agree with. So when Elon comes in and he exposes the bullshit, like what was it, like 65? I'm just trying to think of a random one. 65K for a DEI musical in like Serbia or some shit like that. 50 million in sexual reproductive health in Gaza, which went to condoms. A good deal went to condoms. Like shit like that. All of us should be like, what? Why? And thank you for exposing that.
If it's not, we should think about it. So You know, there's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So, you know, that's the case where, like, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous. One of the two.
Insane. Like, what the hell? Like, no, stuff like that is like, what are we doing? We're paying out Social Security, which was set to run out of funds, by the way. Set to run out of funds, and I believe in the next 5 or 10 years, as it was. You know, there's going to be some reformation and some funding that goes towards it now that Trump's in office. But we got people on Social Security, and this probably isn't just one case. This is probably just a case off the top of his head. But we got people on Social Security who are all but dead, deceased, not even here, still collecting on government federal benefits, which we pay. Yeah, that little portion of your check that goes towards Social Security every week, every couple weeks, or every month. Yeah, you're paying that for a dead man.
And then there's a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, like, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it, and that they receive it quickly and accurately. I'll tell you another crazy thing. So, you know, one of the things is like we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this obviously there needs to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently. So we're saying, well, okay, well, let's if people can retire, you know, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments, everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we're told that the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955. So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire. Doesn't that sound crazy? There's like 1,000 people that work on this. So I think if we take those people and say, like, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to, you know, boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else. And you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful way. So anyway, so I think, you know, that's an example. Like at a high level, if you say, like, how do we increase prosperity? Is we get people to shift from roles that are low to negative productivity to high productivity roles. And so increase the total output of goods and services, which means that there's a higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal. Everyone's very quiet. So are people normally this quiet?
Your detractors, Mr.
You're quiet now, but y'all gonna be talking shit in the press later. I'm gonna see about 10 headlines about some crazy shit I said, and y'all right here in my face over here acting like y'all ain't got nothing to say. Yeah, it is quite funny. I'd have laughed too.
Musk,
I did what?
Including a lot of Democrats.
Now, let's hear that question.
Higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal. Everyone's very quiet. So are people normally this quiet?
Your detractors.
And I don't know, something about, because people make the assertion all the time that Trump is this egotistical maniac, that the show is all about him. He needs the spotlight on him 24/7. And bro, if you know anything about Trump's career, he's the ultimate boss. He's like the most professional boss. He's the type that knows how to lead, but knows how to let you have your moment as well. And this has been documented and exemplified throughout his career. Like, think about his Trump rallies. Like, yeah, for sure. A good boss knows how to market and, you know, sell himself a little bit and embellish. And that's definitely true to Trump's character. But to that point, think about how many times we've seen Trump have the spotlight, but in the next moment, give it to somebody else. Give it to somebody who's deserving of a moment. Whether that be somebody we know about or somebody we don't know about. I can list countless names. just off the top of my head, the story about Michelle Montgomery comes to my head. I don't know if y'all remember that young black woman who was at the Chick-fil-A when Trump came to visit, and she went viral for giving him a hug, and she joined the campaign. She went on a rally with him or two. Yeah, just small moments like that. Like Trump is the ultimate leader in that regard. He knows how to obviously, like I said, market, do the leading, do the management, but look how he sits at by Elon, regardless of the claims that Elon is running the show. Look how confident he sits by Elon as Elon handles the questions. It's not like Trump's like, oh, let me get my 2 words in. Let me interject. Nah, it's all about Elon. Right now, it's Elon. I'm letting Elon control it. That's what a good boss does. He knows who he hires. He knows the concept of a mastermind. He knows it takes more than one hand at play to get the go done. I love it, though, because you would think Trump would be in here trying to interject, and get his 2 minutes of fame as well. But now you don't need it. Elon, I got you here to answer the questions. Yo, y'all talking to Elon. Elon speaks right now.
Mr. Musk.
I have to what?
Including a lot of Democrats.
I have detractors?
You do, sir.
I don't believe it.
Say that you're orchestrating a hostile takeover of government and doing it in a non-transparent way. What's your response to that criticism?
Well, first of all, you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public voted. We have a majority of the public voting for President Trump. We won the House. We won the Senate. The people voted for major government reform. There should be no doubt about that. That was on the campaign. The president spoke about that at every rally. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for. And a lot of times, people that don't get what they voted for, but in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for. And that's what democracy is all about.
Mr. Musk, the White House says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts of interest that you may have. Does that mean that you are in effect policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency?
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the Doge handle on X and to the Doge website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the Doge organization. So, the kind of things we're doing are, I think, very, very simple and basic. They're not, what I mentioned, for example, about Treasury, just making sure that payments that go out, taxpayer money that goes out, is categorized correctly, that the payment is explained, that organizations on the do not pay list, which takes a lot to get there, that actually are not paid, which currently they are paid. These are not individual judgment decisions. These are about simply having sensible checks and balances in the system itself to ensure that taxpayer money is spent well. So it's got nothing to do with, like, say, a contract with some company of mine at all.
But if there is a conflict of interest when it comes to you yourself, for instance, you've received billions of dollars in federal contracts when it comes to the Pentagon, for instance, which the president, I know, has directed you to look into.
Yeah.
Are you policing yourself in that? Is there any sort of accountability check and balance in place that would provide any transparency for the American people?
Well, all of our actions are fully public. So if you see anything, you say, like, wait a second, hey, Elon, that seems like maybe that's, there's a conflict there.
I love that. I love that he's made that point right there, because nothing they're doing is in private. Nothing they're doing is in the shadows. They've been pretty transparent, and they've been straightforward with everything they were going to do. Like, I mean, think about it. This is why I don't understand a lot of the backlash that a lot of people on the left are having right now. I see a lot of people in the comments like, oh, they're going too far, or Elon is unchecked power, all that good stuff. Bro, they defined what the initiative for Doge was way back in the day, way back in the day. When Elon first joined the campaign, it was Elon and Vivek Ramaswamy, who later fell off to, go after his own aspirations. I mean, hopefully he gets what he's trying to do. Shout out Ohio on that one. But what they said they were going to do was clearly defined before Trump even got in office. So for a lot of the backlash that he's getting, it's just like, oh, y'all haven't been paying attention, because he said he was going to do this. He said he was going to do this. I mean, look at what Doge stands for, Department of Government Efficiency. He's getting in there and he's highlighting some of the inefficient spending, some of the shit that's been standardized, normalized. Some of the shit that we know has been going on. We just haven't quite been able to pinpoint. But everybody knows the government is inherently slow on some things, flawed on some things, probably waste money on some things. We all kind of know that in the back of our head. Elon gets in there and he points out exactly where the money is going and what it's being wasted on. And now we're mad. He's gone too far. His power is unchecked. He has too much autonomy. Like, come on now. Come on now, bro. He needs access to the books. How else is he going to make the shit more efficient? How else is he going to tell us what the money's being wasted on? Like, a lot of us really got to relax. Really got to relax. When the economy starts flowing better, I swear, you're going to have to look around, really look at yourself in the mirror and be like, maybe you know what? I did too much. I judged him too soon. I went too far. I said too much. We're moving a little bit better now. Country's doing a little bit stronger. Economy's flowing a little bit more smooth. Maybe I should apologize. You won't, but you know you should.
It's not like people are going to be shy about saying that. They'll say it immediately, you know?
Including you yourself.
Yes. But transparency is what builds trust, not simply somebody asserting trust. So not somebody saying they're trustworthy, but transparency so you can see everything that's going on. And then you can see, am I doing something that benefits one of my companies or not? It's totally obvious.
And if we thought that, we would not let him do that segment or look in that area. If we thought there was a lack of transparency.
And guys, go ahead and do me a favor if you're liking the live, if you're liking the content and the commentary, drop a like on your boy, man. It is free as can be, man. Go ahead and double tap that screen or you can hit the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner. And with all that money Elon is about to save us, man, perfect segue. Go ahead and support the stream as well, man. We are supporter driven. And your support does drive the stream. So go ahead and super chat in thoughts, questions, comments, anything you guys want to get off your chest. I see a lot of good discourse in the chat going on. A disagreement even can be shared. $1 or more, I'll give you a shout out for supporting. I'll put your comment up at the top of the screen and we'll keep it going. We'll keep it interactive and we'll keep it fun. Let's keep it going. It's been a good one. And yeah, we still got some more time left in this one. Let's keep it going.
Or a conflict of interest. And we watched that also. He's a big businessman. He's a successful guy. That's why we want him doing this. We don't want an unsuccessful guy doing this. Now, one thing also that Elon hasn't really mentioned are the groups of people that are getting some of these payments. They're ridiculous. And we're talking about billions of dollars that we've already found. We found fraud and abuse. I would say those 2 words as opposed to the third word that I usually use. But in this case, fraud and abuse. It's abusive because most of these things are virtually made up, or certainly money shouldn't be sent to them. And you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. So, but we're talking about tens of billions of dollars that we've already found. And now a judge who's an activist judge wants to try and stop us from doing this. Why? Why would they want to do that? I campaigned on this. I campaigned on the fact that I said government is corrupt. And it is very corrupt. It's very, very, it's also foolish. As an example, a man has a contract for 3 months and the contract ends, but they keep paying him for the next 20 years, because nobody ends a contract. You got a lot of that. You have a contract that's a 3-month contract. Now, normally if you're in a small, in all fairness, it's the size of this thing is so big.
Yeah.
But if you have a contract, and you're in a regular business, you end the contract in 3 months, it's a consultant. Here's a contract for 3 months, but it goes on for 20 years. And the guy doesn't say that he got money for 20 years, they don't say it. They just keep getting checks month after month. And you have various things like that. And even much worse than that, actually, much worse. And I guess you call that incompetence, maybe.
Yeah.
It could be corruption. It could be a deals made on both sides, where the guy gets the money, he kicks. I think there's a lot of kickback here. I see a lot of kickback here.
There's a lot of kickbacks.
A tremendous kickback, because nobody could be so stupid to give out some of these contracts.
Yes.
So he has to get a kickback. So that's what I got elected for, that and borders and military and a lot of things, but this is a big part of it. And I hope that the court system is going to allow us to do what we have to do. We got elected to among other things, find all of this fraud, abuse, all of this horrible stuff going on. And we've already found billions of dollars, not like a little bit, billions, many billions of dollars. And when you get down to it, it's going to be probably close to $1 trillion. It could be close to $1 trillion that we're going to find. That will have quite an impact on the budget. And you'll go to a judge where they handpick a judge and he has certain leanings. I'm not knocking anybody for that, but he has certain leanings and he wants us to stop looking. How do you stop looking? I mean, we've already found it. We have a case in New York where a hotel has paid $59 million, $59 million because it's housing migrants, illegal migrants, all illegal, I believe.
And they were being paid twice the normal room rate at 100% occupancy.
Unbelievable.
So it's a racket.
Yeah.
Mr. Musk, I'm going to ask a question. You
Well,
said-
if I may sort of just going for the president's comments, at a high level, you say, well, what are the two ingredients that are really necessary in order to cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1 trillion? And it's really two things: competence and caring. And if you add competence and caring, you'll cut the budget deficit in half. And I fully expect to be scrutinized and get a daily proctology exam, basically. Might as well just camp out there. So it's not like I think I can get away with something. I'll be scrutinized nonstop. But with the support of the president, we can cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1. And then with deregulation, because there's a lot of sort of regulations that don't ultimately serve the public good. We need to free the builders of America to build. And if we do that, that means I think you get the economic growth to be maybe 3-4%, maybe 5%. And that means if you can get $1 trillion of economic growth and you cut the budget deficit by $1 trillion, between now and next year, there is no inflation. There's no inflation in 26. And if the government is not borrowing as much, it means that interest costs decline. So everyone's the mortgage, their car payment, their credit card bills, anything, their student debt, the monthly payments drop. That's a fantastic scenario.
And guys, as Elon continues to field these questions, we got almost 1,000 of y'all in here. I do appreciate the support to tonight's stream, but go ahead and like the video for your boy. Double tap that screen, man. It's as free as can be. Go ahead and hit me with one of these, or you get the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner, man. Let's keep it going. But yes, guys, your super chats do drive the stream. We're at about 2 right now. About 2 super chats right now. 48 super chats more to open up that call in, get some of the members, some of the mods, and some of the supporters up here for a live conversation. We'd love to get some of you guys up here, hear what you guys got to say on tonight's topics. But let's keep it going for right now. Thoughts, questions, comments, jokes, even disagreements can be shared $1 or more. Give you a shout out for supporting, and we'll keep it going.
For the average American. I mean, imagine they're going down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same, and their mortgage, all the debt payments dropped. How great is that for the average American?
We had
That's
no
what we're
idea. We had no idea we were going to find this much, and it's open. It's not like complicated.
Right.
It's not
Simple
that
stuff.
complicated.
It's
It's
like
a lot of work.
you
Yeah.
can't believe it. A lot of work. A lot of smart people.
Now imagine. And Trump just admitted right there. He said it's not even complicated. A lot of this shit was on the surface, like, which leads me to believe. Imagine if they were actually able to dig deeper. Like, you see how the Treasury representatives were kind of pulling back. You had Schumer saying, like, oh my God, who's he going to come after next? This is crazy precedent. You see how USAID employees and spokesmen and women were kind of trying to shame Elon for having access to certain documents, the Treasury. And if I didn't already say that, trying to almost imply that he almost has too much oversight. He has too much power. Trump just told us, like, this shit was on the surface. He didn't have to go too deep. He didn't even have to, like, he had to do a deep dive to find some of this spending. But imagine if he did. Imagine if he did. Yo, I'll be honest. It would probably shock us all. It would probably shock us all.
Involved. Very, very smart people. But you're talking about anywhere, maybe 500 billion. It's crazy the kind of numbers you're
It's really
talking
crazy.
about. You know, normally when you're looking at something, you'll find you're looking for 1 out of 100. Here, you're almost reversing it. You look for one that's good.
Yeah.
And you can look at the title and you say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And the public gets it. You know, the public gets it. You've seen the polls. The public is saying, why are we paying all this money? This for years, this has gone on. Yeah, go ahead. Wait, go ahead.
Senator Rand Paul today said that Doge cuts will ultimately need a vote in Congress. Do you agree with that? Is that the
I
plan?
really don't know. I know this. We're finding tremendous fraud and tremendous abuse. If I need a vote of Congress to find fraud and abuse, it's fine with me. I think we'll get the vote, although there'll be some people that wouldn't vote. And how could a judge want to hold us back from finding all of this fraud and finding all of this incompetence? Why would that happen? Why would even Congress want to do that? Now, Congress, if we do need a vote, I think we'd get a very easy vote because we have a track record now. We've already found billions of dollars of abuse, incompetence, and corruption. A lot of corruption.
If a judge does block one of your policies, part of your agenda, will you abide by that ruling? Will you comply?
Well, I
with that
always
order?
abide by the courts, and then I'll have to appeal it. But then what he's done is he slowed down the momentum, and it gives crooked people more time to cover up the books.
There you go.
You know, if a person's
There you go. Now Trump's talking on it. Now Trump's speaking on the real deal, Holyfield, when it comes to what we call the facts. Everybody wants to talk about that federal judge potentially shooting down that decision, and they want to say it's because what he did was unconstitutional. He's overextending his power, but he just hit it right on the nose. He just hit it right on the nose. Gives them some time to maybe hide or correct some things, maybe conceal some things when it comes to the books, the numbers. But what they forgot to leave out yesterday in that video where they say, well, Trump's not the only person to get federally blocked by a judge, is that, like Trump said, a lot of the times, 9 out of the 10, I would venture to say, that deal is either reformed, reworked, or renegotiated and pushed back through successfully, either the second or the third time. So he's going to get it done, but it is a matter of just like slowing the momentum, slowing the process. You would almost want to say the judge is being a dick. The judge doesn't personally agree with Trump's politics, so he's being a dick. And while doing that, it also gives the people behind and under him some time to kind of clean some of their mess up.
crooked and they get caught, other people see that, and all of a sudden it becomes harder later on. So, yeah, the answer is I always abide by the courts, always abide by them, and will appeal. But appeals take a long time, and I would hope that a judge, if you go into a judge and you show him, here's a corrupt situation, we have a check to be sent, but we found it to be corrupt. Do you want us to send this corrupt check to a person, or do you want us not to give it and give it back to the taxpayer? I would hope a judge would say, don't send it, give it back to the taxpayer.
Yeah, if I can add to that,
unless the judge has some type of financial incentive in that. And then that's what this will expose. And then now everybody can see who the bad apples are, who the negative players are, who the selfish government leaders and politicians and judges are. Like, not only is it exposing the errant spending, the mismanagement of funds, it's exposing who's been behind it, who's been complicit. Like, this is one of those things where I just say, like, there's just net benefit. It's just an inherently positive thing for all of us. For all of us on the left and the right that call out some of the corruption in government, some of just, again, the bad apples, bad actors within our government. Bro, this is the day we've been waiting for, the day of reckoning. Government getting exposed. Oh, wait, because they're not on your side, and it's because it's Trump doing the exposing. You don't agree with it. All right, like I say, man, a lot of y'all be showing y'all bias.
What we're finding is that a bunch of the fraud is not even going to Americans. So I think we can all agree that if there's going to be fraud, it should at least go to Americans. But a bunch of the fraud rings that are operating in the United States and taking advantage of the federal government, especially in the entitlements programs, are actually foreign fraud rings. They're operating in other countries and actually exporting money to other countries. We should stop that. And this is big numbers. Talk about $100 to $200 billion a year. Serious money.
Mr. Musk, you
I mean,
said on X that an example of fraud that you have cited was $50 million of condoms was sent to Gaza. But after fact check this, apparently Gaza in Mozambique, and the program was to protect them against HIV. So can you correct this statement? It wasn't sent to Hamas, actually. It was sent to Mozambique, which makes sense why condoms was sent there.
Yeah.
And how can we make sure that all the statements that you said were correct, so we can trust what you say?
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. I'm not sure we should be sending $50 million worth of condoms to anywhere, frankly. I'm not sure that's something Americans would be really excited about.
I mean,
and that is really
$50 million worth of condoms is crazy.
almost never condoms, if you think about it. But if it went to Mozambique instead of Gaza, I'm like, okay, that's not as bad, but still, why are we doing that?
Mr. Musk, can you talk a little bit about how closely you're working with agency heads as you're directing these cuts? Do they have how much input do agency heads have when you're making these decisions?
Yeah, we work closely with the agency heads, there's a
shut up,
checks in
Joe.
place. So it's not just us just going in and doing things willy-nilly. It's in partnership with the agency heads, and I check frequently with the president to make sure that this is what the president wants to have happen. So we talk almost every day, and I double check things to make sure, is this something, Mr. President, you want us to do this? Well,
Joe and Shmuel, I love both of y'all, but shut the hell up. I ain't taking y'all bullshit today, man.
Well, then we'll do it.
USAID has been one of your main targets. Are you concerned at all that some of the cuts or that shutting that agency altogether may lead to diseases or other bigger problems starting in other countries that then come to the United States?
Yeah, so that's an interesting example. So that's something where we work closely with the State Department and Secretary Rubio. And we have, for example, turned on funding for Ebola prevention and for HIV prevention. Yes, correct. And we are moving fast, so we will make mistakes, but we'll also fix the mistakes very quickly. So,
do you see it as a worthy cause?
And guys, I see a lot of people on both sides of the argument coming in. We got proponents of Elon and Trump, and we got naysayers, detractors for Elon and Trump. It doesn't matter what side you're on, left, blue, elephant, donkey. I don't care what your political affiliation is, man. Go ahead and support the stream. Drop a like. Double tap the screen, or you get the 3 buttons in the upper right-hand corner, man. The best part about it is when we can increase the discourse. The only way to do that is to push the video in the algorithm, and the only way to do that is by liking it. So drop a like on your boy. Let's get some more folks in here. Push the conversation forward. Let's continue to make it a good stream. And of course, guys, thoughts, questions, comments, anything you guys want to get off your chest. Even disagreements can be shared. Let's continue to push the stream forward with support by way of super chat. We're about 48 super chats away from opening that call in, getting some people up here live for a live debate, live conversation. We'd all love to see that. But the only way to do that is by supporting the stream, guys. So let's keep it going. Super chat into the stream to drive the stream forward. And we do appreciate it. Let's keep going.
USAID?
I think that there are some worthy things, but overall, if you say what was the bang for the buck, I would say it was not very good. And there was far too much of what USAID was doing was influencing elections in ways that I think were dubious and do not stand the light of day.
I mean, just have to follow up to the Pentagon contracts. If you have received billions of dollars in contracts from the Pentagon, and the president's directing you to look into the Department of Defense, is that a conflict of interest?
Are going to do at the president's request.
Does that present a conflict of interest for you?
No, because you'd have to look at the individual contract and say, first of all, I'm not the one, filing the contract. It's people at SpaceX or someone who will be putting for the contract. And I'd like to say, if you see any contract where where it was awarded to SpaceX and it wasn't by far the best value for money for the taxpayer, let me know, because every one of them was.
The president said the other day that you might look at treasuries. Could you explain that a little bit? What kind of fraud, and that question goes to both of you, what kind of fraud are you expecting to see or do you see right now in U.S. treasuries?
Yeah, I think you mean the Treasury Department as opposed to Treasury bills, or
you also referenced treasuries on Air Force One the other night.
Go ahead.
Well,
Hey, and shout out my man Guest Dude. Always good to see you. One of the mods, one of the members. Y'all go ahead and check out that membership program as well. He's been a member for 3 months, man. One of the longest tenured members here on the channel. He says, Helms Deep, round 2. I might be out the loop on that one, Guest Dude. Fill me in, though. Fill me in. Shout out Guest Dude, though.
As I mentioned earlier, really, the first order of business is to make sure we're actually collecting. Sorry for this. I thought my son might enjoy this, but He's sticking his fingers in my ears and stuff. So it's a bit hard to hear sometimes. Hey, stop that. No, the stuff we're doing with Treasury Department is so basic that you can't believe it doesn't exist already. So for example, like I mentioned, just making sure that when a payment goes out, it has to have a payment categorization code. It's like, what type of payment is this? You can't just leave the field blank. Currently, many payments, the field is left blank. And you have to describe what's the payment for, some basic rationalization.
Oh man, and shout out Guest Dude following up with another $2. Guys, your comment can be read aloud just like my man Guest Dude's here for $1 or more. We do appreciate all support. We're about 46 super chats away from opening that call in, getting some people up here. I see a lot of conversation going on in the chat right now, man. I'd love to get some of y'all up here, platform y'all, hear what y'all have to say live, on call, on stream. That's just how we do it here at S.E.T Media. But yeah, shout out Guest Dude. Hold on just a second. He says the trolls are rolling in like Sunday. Oh man, we knew it was gonna happen though. It was only a matter of time, especially when Trump and Elon and the rest of the campaign and administration got their foot to the gas like this. Yeah, full metal or full throttle, pedal to the metal. It's only gonna piss them off, bro. When they see him kicking ass and taking names, it's gonna piss them off. So to be expected. To be expected.
That also is left blank. So this is why, the Pentagon, when's the last time the Pentagon passed an audit? I mean, a decade ago, maybe? I don't know, ever, really? And we want to just, in order to actually pass audits, you have to have financial information that allows you to trace the payments.
Let's get the likes up though, guys. Like the video.
And once in a while, the Treasury has to pause payments if it thinks the payment is going to a fraudulent organization. Like if a company or an organization is on a do not pay list, we should not pay it. I'm sure you would agree. Like if it's quite hard to get on that payment, the do not pay list, it means that this is someone that is like dead people, terrorists, known fraudsters, that kind of thing. We should not pay them. Currently, we do, which is crazy. We should stop that.
Many transactions. And by the way,
Let's say, okay, so real quick, I just want to address this real quick. See a lot of folks in here. Some of y'all are obviously not fans of Elon Musk, which is fair. That decision could be made at your own discretion. Nobody's saying you gotta like the man. But when he exposes something like the errant spending of the USAID, or when he gets on here and he says, like, bro, we got people on Social Security 150 years old. I don't know about y'all, but there ain't no 150-year-old American living. Like, if that's the case, you need to contact Guinness Book of World Records. He's missing out on a bag. All jokes aside, though, what that exposes is that we're paying Social Security to deceased people. People who should not be receiving these federal benefits that we all pay for. When he gets on here and he exposed, bro, he talk about we need, bro, it's happening. Bro, it's happening. Bro, oh my gosh. When he gets on here and exposes something like that, how can you hate him exposing that? How can you hate him for exposing that? It's something that we're all paying into. It's something that we are going to want to take a part of when we're set to retire. When we're 40, 50, 60 years old and we're set to retire and we need a piece of that pie when it comes to Social Security, we're going to want a piece of that pie to be left for us. And we're paying it to deceased people. Yes, all of us. Social Security comes out of each and every one of our checks. So when he gets on here and he exposes something in great detail, as he just did with some of the spending, specifically the issue about Social Security, we got people who are deceased collected. How can you be mad at him for that? You should be mad at the government who's been hiding these type of lies, who standardize and normalize this type of shit. It's not an accident. It's just bad oversight. It's bad management. It's not an accident. I want to make that point. I want to emphasize that point. It is not a goddamn accident. This didn't happen. It's not a whoopsies. You forget to pay your taxes for 1 year, or you underpay your taxes. The IRS is right on your doorstep, right in your mailbox with a letter letting you know how much you owe. So it isn't an accident. It isn't an oversight. It isn't a whoopsies. This is mismanagement. This is negligence. And we're paying for it. So when Elon gets up here and exposes it, man, y'all need to shut the hell up. Y'all should be showing a little gratitude. If you don't know what's going on, that's fine. But don't be getting up here judging the man like he's doing something that he shouldn't be doing. He told y'all he was going to do it. He's doing what he said. He's saving the money. Bro, when your wallet is a little bit fatter, bro, and you got more money to spend on yourself and your family, who the hell you going to sit around and thank? Like I said, a lot of y'all going to have a come to Jesus moment with yourself in the mirror. Like, God damn it, I judged this administration too soon. My life is better.
Hundreds, thousands of transactions like that. You know, we have a big team. And for the sake of the country, I hope that the person that's in charge and the other people that report to me that are in charge are allowed to do the right thing, namely make sure everything's honest, legitimate, and competent. But we're looking at just when you look at USAID, that's one. We're going to look at the military. We're going to look at education. They're much bigger areas.
Oh, and shout out guest dude chiming back in for another 5. He said, "I never thought I'd die side by side with a conservative, a socialist dwarf to a MAGA elf, probably." You missed the joke, Sunday Key. Yeah, I worked this past weekend, bro. So if y'all don't ever see me on here on the weekends, I work every other weekend. So 12-hour shifts, you know, everything else. Sometimes I don't quite make it on as much as I'd like to, but I figured it was something I was missing out on. But yeah, shout out guest dude for filling me in.
But the USAID is really corrupt. I'll tell you, it's corrupt. It's incompetent, and it's really corrupt. And I can't imagine a judge saying, well, it may be corrupt, but you don't have the right. You got elected to look over the country and to, as we say, make America great again, but you don't have the right to go and look and see whether or not things are right that they're paying or that things are honest that they're paying. And nobody can even believe this. Other people, law professors, they've been saying, how can you take that person's right away? You're supposed to be running the country, but we're not allowed to look at who they're paying it to and what they're paying. We have massive amounts of fraud that we caught. I think we probably caught way over a lot of billions of dollars already in 2 weeks?
Yes.
And it's going to go to numbers that you're not going to believe. And much, as I said, much is incompetence and much is dishonesty. We have to catch it. And the only way we're going to catch it is to look for it. And if a judge is going to say you're not allowed to look for it, that's pretty sad for our country. I don't understand how it could even work.
The buyout program, can you personally guarantee that?
Which one?
The buyout program, the offer to federal workers. Can you personally guarantee that the workers who opt in to resign now will be paid through September?
They'll get their money, but they're getting a good deal. They're getting a big buyout. And what we're trying to do is reduce government. We have too many people. We have office space. It's occupied by 4%. Nobody's showing up to work because they were told not to. And then Biden gave them a 5-year pass, some of them, 48,000 of them, gave them a 5-year pass that for 5 years, you don't have to show up to work. And let me tell you, this is largely, much of this stuff is because of Biden. It's his fault. He allowed this country, what he did on our border. What he did on our border is almost not as bad as what he did with all of these contracts that have come out. It's a very sad day when we look at it. I can't even believe it. But many contracts just extend and they just keep extending, and there was nobody there to correct it. And that cannot be, I can't imagine that could be held up by the court. Any court that would say that the president or his representatives, like Secretary of the Treasury, Secretary of State, whatever, doesn't have the right to go over their books and make sure everything's honest. I mean, how can you have a country? You can't have anything that way. You can't have a business that way. You can't have a country that way. Hey, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Head out.
Coming back tonight. Mark Vogel will be at the White House tonight at about 10 o'clock. If you want to come over, you can say hello to him.
Did you guys get anything in return?
Not much. No, they were very nice. We were treated very nicely by Russia, actually. I hope that's the beginning of a relationship where we can end